Hey guys, this is Camp15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another One Piece anime episode review for you guys. And we got a pretty nice episode in terms of just straight out action. That's what we got this episode. Just straight off action, just got to the point, didn't deter anywhere, didn't go anywhere else. We just stuck to this fight between the two emperors of the sea and Big Mom and Kaido versus the Supernovas. So yeah, now I wanted to bring something up apparently about the Sanji scene that a lot of people that it was pretty controversial in how people felt about it. Some people did not like it at all, and they think it was kind of unnecessary, and they just could have cut it out and just spent more time on the fight between happening up top. While some people didn't really care, they just like, it is what it is. Personally, for me, yeah, was it an unnecessary scene? Yes. I will admit it. It was an unnecessary scene, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I kind of honestly, when I watched the scene, I got a laugh out of it. Some people just didn't like it, especially didn't like the disturbed perversion area of Sanji, which is why people don't like Sanji as much as they used to. It doesn't bother me because I kind of know Sanji's character for post time skip. Sanji, he's just been that pervy like character. It didn't bother me. It's bothered some people. Listen, no harm, no foul. I don't think it should be a big talking point. If you can just voice your displeasure, fine, but whatever. Anyways, apparently, I guess Toei heard people's cries. Well, people from the West, I don't know how people in Japan felt about it, but again, like I said, I've been saying this for a long time. People in Japan, they have more rights to what how studios act and stuff like that, because they're technically, these animes are technically catered to their demographic. I say this all the time in my manga reviews, and stuff like that. When there's a manga chapter that gets hated and criticized for maybe the wrong reasons, they're targeting their target demographic, which is the Japanese, not us in the West. We have very little say, if not none. So there's truly nothing we can do. But anyways, like I said, Toei, I guess, heard complaints from people out in the West, and like, okay, sure, we'll give you just a full episode of the fight. Okay, no harm, no foul. I enjoyed it. The animation, again, was flames. Animation wasn't on the levels of episode 1000 levels and stuff like that, and everything, but at the same time, it's just like, at the same time, personally, if you ask me, I still thought it was pretty damn good. And I'm just like, yes, please give me more of that animation, and stuff like that. Hold on a quick second, I'll be back. Okay, back. But yes, the animation was great. It was still flame. So let's get into this week's episode of One Piece. Now, obviously, after the incidents that happened last week, we had it to where Luffy, Kid, Law, they all get back up and they all unleash, I guess you can say, their ultimate techniques, whatever. So anyways, we have it to where Luffy goes into his gear 4th. Great visually animated scene where he goes into his gear 4th and everything. He ends up using Kong Gun on Kaido, and pushes him back. Kid, again, another beautifully animated scene, just calls the surrounding magnetic, I guess you can say, things from wherever he pulled it out of, and creates essentially like a mech, essentially, and he calls it Punk Rotten, and he ends up using this attack called Punk Vise, which is like essentially like trying to smash Kaido, but Kaido just kind of stands there and takes it. If anything, out of all the attacks that the Supernovas did, I think Kid's attack did, like, if not no damage, or didn't really do anything, because even because Kaido, in terms of Law and Kid and Luffy's attacks, he's like, okay, that actually stung a bit. With Kid, he's like, that's it. This is pathetic. This doesn't even hurt anymore. You're gonna need more mass to take me out. But he blows that attack away, and then that's when Law gets in, and then he uses Tact and just fires off some just rocks, sharp splintered rocks at Kaido. Anyways, after the dust clear and everything, which was funny because you get a comedic scene between Kid and Law because Law is pissed, like, bruh, you almost killed me with that attack you just did. And Law's like, okay, so what? I don't really give a fudge. And they're arguing, and then Luffy's over here. He's crossing his arms as he's bouncing. He's like, Traw, Jaggy, stop fighting right now. And then obviously, he goes on and say, listen, all I know is I need time. I need, to concentrate so I can get my next attack ready. And they're like, oh, really? Like, you did anything special too? And they get into a whole argument, but Kaido gets back up from the rubble and everything. And he goes on to make them mention how the attacks that have been dished out his way, it reminds him back of the time, when he was in the Rocks crew, and they cut over, like, some time where, at the Battle of God Valley, they don't show it, but they show it in the way of the Battle of God Valley due to Roger and Garp and stuff like that. And then they even see Odin, and he's like, that reminds me of that time back then when I fought, and I'm definitely excited to see what's going on and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyways, him and Big Mom both compliment the Supernovas for giving them a fight. But they're both like, yeah, that's great and all, but you guys are still gonna be screwed over. You guys have no chance in hell for winning. So Kaido transforms into his dragon form. This time he uses his dragon form now against Supernovas. This is the first time he brought it out against Supernovas. So yeah, now what happens is the Kaido Moa tells our group of heroes, like, listen, if you thought those attacks were anything special, well, guess what? You're just like the freaking, you're just like the samurai that tried to fight me. They failed epically because they believed that the power or the will they fought for Odin would help them. But guess what? It did not. It only got them killed. Or it only got them badly damaged, almost to the brink of death. So yeah. And they go on to make the mention of the fact that he's like, listen, after we defeat you guys, we're going to take your treasure and we're going to take your crewmates and everything. Obviously, Luffy and others, they're like, oh, please, that's not happening or anything. If anything, we're going to take your treasures and we're going to take your crewmates. That's what Kid says. Luffy, he's just going like, yeah, you're not getting any members of my crew and stuff like that. So yeah, they charge him for more attacks and everything. And Kaido goes on to say, like, whoever wins this battle, whoever wins this clash, that's gonna be the people who win this fight. That's gonna bring them only closer to becoming and obtaining the ultimate title in this world, and that is King of the Pirates, and stuff like that. And obviously, Luffy's like, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be King of the Pirates. So the fight continues, and Kaido uses this twister / tornado attack, and he calls it demolition gust, and it fires off like these very high pressurized wind attacks that essentially cut through anything within its sight. It's cutting through the boulders within the areas on top of Onigashima and stuff like that. Like, we see Killer try to block one of them. It actually cuts one of Kid's arms from his Punk Rotten mech off and everything. So yeah, that's the whole thing there. So what happens is, I forgot to mention too, he says that line about the scabbards and everything, and then next thing you know, Luffy is charging up after dodging those attacks, the demolition gust attacks, and he fires off a new attack that I believe we haven't seen him do when he's in Gear 4 before in the past. And he fires off this attack, which is Gum-Gumino Kong Rifle. I did like it because when he charges it up in the Kong stance, he always has it. It's his arms like spinning, or within the big gigantic inflated arm, it's spinning. And when he uses Kong Rifle, he infused it with Rio, so it dishes out more attacks and stuff like that. So then after that happens, Kid comes in, grabs Kaido pretty much by his horns, and he slams him down using Slam Gibson. And then all of a sudden, Law gets into this fight and he ends up using Gamma Knife because he's like, I've never seen the inside of what a dragon ultimately looks like, but right here near your skull should be where your heart is and stuff like that. And he uses Gamma Knife that actually, it looks like it has actually, major attack damage on Kaido, because we know Gamma Knife is the attack that essentially destroys your body from within. He used that against Doflamingo, and Doflamingo for the entire fight was trying to reheal the inside of his body to do it, and then clearly affected him throughout the fight with Luffy. The same thing happened here, and it looked like it did do a lot of damage. And even Kaido's like, oh, so you guys have figured out that my skin is super tough and you trying to beat me from within the inside is your way to go. Credit, but at the same time, it's going to be a futile effort and stuff like that. Now, we'll see if the Gamma Knife attack has any effect going forward in the lasting effects of Kaido, but from what we've seen, it did not. Anyways, Killer gets in. He's like, okay, yeah, your skin's pretty hard to penetrate and everything, but we're gonna keep cutting away at it. And Killer uses this move called Scyther Sonic, and essentially it's kind of a figment of where he's essentially, it's over exaggerated, but it's like he's cutting through Kaido's insides, almost dang near cutting him in half and everything. But it does, again, it's another attack that looks to do pretty big damage on Kaido. But all of a sudden, Big Mom's like, Mama, Indra, and just absolutely shocks freaking Killer. Kid's like, Killer! And the thing is, that ends up happening, and we find out that Indra essentially is long range lightning attacks that Big Mom is firing off from Zeus and everything. And essentially, it's taken everybody out of the picture. It's, disturbing them and everything. In the meantime, and it looks like Kaido is going to eat Killer whole, but Luffy comes in, uses a Rhino Snyder, kicks freaking Kaido in the jaw, forcing him back. But Kaido then just gets back up. He's like, huh. And he's about to fire off a blast breath. In the meantime, Zoro's running. He's like, Law, freaking get me up there right now. And obviously Law, he's like, oh, now you're giving me orders too? Well then, fuck you. And he ends up doing it regardless. And Zoro uses the Fox Fire attack, cuts through Kaido's blast breath to save Luffy, and everything. At the same time, he's like, Law, do it again. And Law's like, stop telling me what to do. He's like, he uses shambles again. And, this time, Zoro's using one sword style with Enma this time. And he charges up. And obviously his hockey's being charged within Enma. And Big Mom's like, Kaido? That is no ordinary sword. Get the hell away from that. And in the meantime, as Zoro is coming down, slashing, Kaido's like, wait a second. And as Zoro's coming down, he's seeing like figments of Odin within Zoro. Now, the reason why he's saying that is because he's like, and when Zoro, unleashes the attack, Kaido barely gets out the way. It grazes him, so it cuts his face a bit. But at the same time, we see it cuts one of the horns off Onigashima, one of the rock horns off Onigashima and everything. So that was cool and everything. It was a badass attack. So Zoro just missed this guy. And that's when Kaido's like, why does this guy's sword give off the vibes of Odin and stuff like that? So that's the whole thing. Eventually what happens is Big Mom uses Indra again, shocks Zoro, and is just shocking the entire landscaping. And he uses this move called, like, I think Tenjin or whatever. And then like this little electric, current of Zeus, because it pretty much takes everybody out. Like even one, like it goes through even freaking Kid's mouth and shocks, and pretty much everybody looks like they're down for the count. Well, not down for the count, but everybody looks like they're on the ground, just like laid down and everything. And that's the whole thing. Luffy gets hit, everybody else gets hit, and it looks like, oh, this could be it for our heroes and everything. But Luffy gets back up, he starts bouncing, gets back flying up into the air, and then he's right then and there. And Big Mom's like, whoa, wait a second. How are you still alive? How are you still standing? That attack should have did you in. I should have badly damaged you at the least. And Luffy is like, because I'm like, it didn't have no effect on me because I'm a rubber man. And obviously, Big Mom gives a face similar to Eneru, not as over dramatic as Eneru was back in Skypiea, but she gives that look like when Eneru did when he found that information out. Now, how Big Mom didn't know this with how old she is and how long she's been a pirate, I don't know. She should have at least known that lightning has no effect on rubber-based properties, but at the same time, I'm guessing it slipped her mind. It's kind of weird to say that. You would think an Emperor of the Sea of her caliber would know lightning has no effect on Luffy, so Kaido take this guy out. And stuff like that. So yeah. In the meantime, Luffy looks like he's going to unleash this attack on Big Mom. I guess as a way to get payback for the events that happened on Whole Cake Island. But Kaido flies in. He fires off another blast breath that hits Luffy. And again, after the after damage from his blast breath, dang near takes out like a whole chunk of the freaking island of Onigashima. One doesn't take a whole chunk out of it, but it leaves like heavy damage. And I'm like, bruh, how is there any freaking fighting ground left to fight on here? How is the roof not collapsing or, yet? I still have questions to how this whole thing's going on, because even in the manga, when I was reading the chapters just to catch up, I was like, bruh, there's too much damage going on. How is this going to be animated and made it look like dude made a whole freaking crater, like as if a freaking meteor just crash landed to the earth and just made a freaking trail, the deep, dirt trail. Don't know. But anyways, Luffy takes the attack. He's still affected by the attack regardless, but he still takes the attack. And even Kaido's like, you're immune to fire too? What the hell else are you immune to? And Luffy's like, oh no, this attack hit me and it affected me, but the only reason why I'm still standing is because of my guts. Essentially saying that his will to win this fighter, his will to continue to fight, is continuing him to push on and continuing him to continue to fight against Kaido. And the episode ends off with Luffy not using Kong Oregon, which we all thought, even when I first read the manga chapter, I thought Kong Oregon was his version of, Gatling for Gear 4. But no, we find out that no, that's not it. That's just a different form of, I guess you could say, a Gatling in a way. But he uses Gamu Gamu no Kong Gatling as he, again, in almost a callback type of way, how he was doing it against Kaido when he first met up with him with the elephant Gatling. This time he's in Gear 4. He uses Kong Gatling and he's just firing attacks on Kaido. Just beating him down. And as he's doing it, and you get close to his face, get to be continued screen, and behind the to be continued words, it has like the punches of Kong Gatling firing at Kaido. And that's where the episode ends off. So, next week, we're going to get the aftermath of the Kong Gatling and see if that truly did enough damage to Kaido. Obviously, as a viewer, you should know that more than likely did not. And it seems like we might even cut away a bit because eventually it's going to happen. We're going to have to cut away from this fight to focus on what the other Straw Hat members are doing in terms of their fights that they're more than likely going to be having with the Toby Roppo. So yeah, that's the thing is, the one thing, again, for anime onlys, I guess I just got a press for you. You see this entire episode and you just see all these attacks the Supernovas are dishing out on Kaido. I think they still have yet to hit Big Mom, which I found hilarious. The fact that, because I was watching the episode with my co-host, the Red Wolf, because I went over to his house today and everything, and I was like, I found it funny how Big Mom's just standing in the background, absolutely doing nothing, but she ends up firing, her Indra lightning and stuff like that, and she's like, oh, you forgot about me? Don't forget about me. But to my anime only people, you're clearly seeing this fight is going to take a very long, strenuous time to beat these dudes, because these guys are taking hits, and they're taking hits. Some of these guys, like, strongest attacks that with regular pirates that they went up against, maybe it actually does some heavy damage on them. It's doing damage on them. It's just like doing damage probably like 10 HP, because we see Kaido's like, he's still resilient and he's still getting back up from these attacks that are pretty devastating that, again, if they hit each other with these attacks, they'd probably be badly damaged, but no, they're not. And they're just getting, and Kaido's just getting back up like, okay, that stung a bit. All right, but let me show you this and everything. So yeah, again, you can contribute to the fact that he's a Zoan type, and Zoan types are known to be highly resistant, and they have a regeneration property to get themselves back up and everything. But at the same time, you got to factor these are characters that fought for years, so they know what attacks can bring them pain and punishment, and stuff like that. But the one attacks that seemed like that do the most damage was definitely Law's Gamma Knife, and Luffy when he uses Rio in the attacks he uses, and stuff like that. So that would be the Red Rock and then the Kong rifle attack. But other than that, they look just fine, especially Kaido in his dragon form. He's taking all these attacks, and I won't be shocked if he gets back up and he's like, your punches freaking hurt now than when they did back when we first fought each other. But I'm still good to go, and I'm still good to fight. So it goes to show you that this is going to be no easy task for Luffy and company to defeat these guys, because these guys are taking hits and taking it like sponges and getting right back up for more. So it's going to be very interesting to see, especially for my anime onlys, how Luffy and company end up taking down the emperors that are Big Mom and Kaido. Because right now they're giving off very impressive attacks. It's just not doing. It looks like it's not doing a damn thing. But anyways, regardless, I'm gonna get out for guys. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of One Piece, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content or any other anime content I upload to the channel. There will be a manga chapter review for my manga viewers who also want to get my thoughts on the anime as well. I will definitely be talking about the chapter 1049 tomorrow, and stuff like that. So look forward to that if you are a manga reader, if you want to get my thoughts. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, and hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day and you're staying safe out there. Till then, guys, peace.